Hi, I'm Simon Crafer. We thought we'd make a little Motovudu introduction to the new GSX-R1000R. I've just had it on circuit for the first time, and I spent a bit of time getting it how I like it. I think it's an improvement from how you get them from the shop. That's because they're obviously set up for riding on the street, which you need to be a bit softer. And hopefully the settings that I share with you make it really work on the circuit. So my first impression on circuit was extremely good when it came to the shifter and the blipper, brakes, like really good, except I didn't get much feedback from especially the front, from the tyres in general, because of the nice plush ride which is made for the street to keep the street riders happy. I was pretty confident that it was just too soft, and like most street bikes are. So I slowly went harder and harder, and it came better and better, and not just feel from the tyres, but also the ABS worked better. For example, it didn't pick the rear off the ground so easy, and the front brake start letting go. It didn't pitch forward so much. And then when we were in the corner, not only did I have more feel from the tyres, but when I accelerated, it didn't sit back on that soft setting on the rear and run wide. So I'll just go through and explain where we ended up so you can set your GSX-R like that, and I'm positive it'll make you smile. So as they come from the box, they've got 8 turns of preload on the front, which is a normal sort of setting. That's where I normally end up, but the springs are a bit soft for on the circuit, so we ended up at 11. So just so you make sure you go the right way, for example, you go all the way out, and then I went 11 turns in on both forks. On the clickers on the front, meaning the compression here on the bigger one, and then the rebound. So you go all the way in, be gentle, don't close it strongly. Use your fingertips on the screwdriver because you damage the valve in there. So then 3 turns out on the rebound, which is actually marked 10 on there. I'm not sure why, but compression, 2 turns out, rebound, 3. That setting, that's on both sides. That setting I ended up with, and really quite good. I could go at a reasonable pace. One other setting that I preferred, and with the standard suspension it comes out of the box with 16 millimeters of the fork tube protruding from the triple clamp, and because I can't, the shock is not adjustable, I can't make it any higher in the back, so I've pulled the forks through by loosening triple clamps and handlebars. You'll need someone who knows their way around bikes and tools to do it. But we've ended up with, instead of 16 millimeters, 18 mil. And with all that preload that I've put on, which makes it feel higher and higher, it's just back down to where it was, and it turns well again. So that's an important piece of that puzzle. Now I'd like to explain the changes we did to the rear that works in conjunction together with the modifications we've done with the front. I went harder and harder with the rear as well at the same time, and we've ended up with also 3 turns more. Take note where a mark on there, it's got a little bit of yellow paint, and do 3 complete turns. It takes a bit of work on there, so you've compressed the spring by 3 mil or 3 laps on that, or whatever the thread is there, and it's basically made it harder, made it higher, and it squats less when you accelerate hard. And if you remember, we've also put 3 turns more on the front than it comes standard, 8 to 11. We've put 3 turns more on the rear, and the bike is a similar balance to what it was, but it's firmer both ends. Then on compression on the rear, it's marked quite clearly COM. Gently wind it all the way in, and 2 complete turns out, which is a harder setting than it comes standard as well. On rebound, we've got 2.5 turns out, and that is all we've done to the rear shock. And as we stepped harder and harder and harder, like I said before, I'm much happy with it for on circuit. One other thing while I'm down here, I'd like to talk about the foot pegs, because we've got to keep our feet off the ground to be able to really lean it, to really make it turn, you know, with that sticky rubber on. Street foot pegs, which make it more comfortable to ride on the road, are too low and too long. It's the same with all street bikes. Until my Gillies tooling rear sets turn up, thank you Performance Parts Limited, I've done what I always do to a street bike, is got a hacksaw out, I know it looks a bit rough, and cut off the last third of the foot peg. And if you think about it, it's not any higher, but when you're on your side, your boot, instead of being out here, it's way further in here, and you can get a lot more angle on, so the bike will turn and you can get up and go. Makes a big difference. I thought I'd quickly let you know also where I've set the electronics, the traction and mode levels. Straight away we went to A in mode, and we haven't changed it from there. I want it to have as much power as possible. But on the traction we started higher, even 4, something like this, and then we've come down and down and down, and be honest, I love it on 1. I would say when you first get out there, maybe between 2 and 4 until you're confident on the bike and happy, then bring it down. 1 really accelerates the best off the corner with no real restriction. It feels as fast as when the traction's off, but it still has that safety net, and really good when you're on worn tyres. We took off the original muffler and got a Yoshimura aftermarket slip-on muffler from Performance Parts Limited, and it's obviously more beautiful, sounds better. The only thing is, I think the bike needs remapping fueling wise, because it feels a little lean, which makes sense after you take that big restriction off it. And we'll keep you posted and put something on the comments on the bottom of the YouTube once we find out where to get it remapped and how to do it. Good luck.